That's okay. That's okay.
Oh yeah, it's a sexy moment. We missed the intro. It's okay. It's all good. It doesn't really matter that we missed the intro because it's just an opportunity for another video to say welcome. But anyways, here we are. We are having an opportunity to speak to Joe Mann. It's a sexy moment day, let me tell you.
Did a few already.
Yeah, and it's been ongoing. It's been that challenge with all my calls earlier today, and that's okay. We don't mind because that keeps us on our toes. So I am stoked. I am pleased. I am impressed with the simple fact that I have the opportunity to share Joe Mann with you today, everybody. It is an opportunity to hear what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur. It's an opportunity for you to hear Joe's story and to realize that what I preach and what Joe has done is the path to success in today's method of being an entrepreneur and serving with passion. So, by all means, Joe, give us a bit of a breakdown. This is going to be an opportunity for you to fix anything that you didn't say the way you wanted to say the first time, because I didn't hit the go live button.
That's one thing. That's one thing you won't forget to do again. So it's a good lesson learned. To give you the quick brief overview of kind of who I am and where I've come from. My career actually started a couple of years ago, about 8 years ago, 9 years ago, in finance, and I was starting as an intern, got promoted up through the tree, and ended up being the director of operations for a couple of years, and then was really just unhappy with myself and didn't like where I was. And at the time, I had actually gained a decent amount of weight, leading myself up to about 280 pounds. And I started to learn nutrition. I was in my corner office, kind of like doing work on one screen, but also learning and studying on the other screen how to take better care of myself. And that actually led to me losing 120 pounds and then pursuing a career as a personal trainer, which lasted about a year. Led the club in sales as well, and became the not regional manager, the local manager for the fitness department in two of the gyms that they managed. Did that for a little bit, really kind of got my seasoning, so to speak, in the sales, marketing, operations side of things. And then COVID hit, where we had to all kind of make that nice pivot, so to speak, online and into Zoom. And I started a company that was geared more around financial consulting, more what I had started my career in. And I quite frankly didn't enjoy it. I was rather miserable, just kind of chasing money and hoping that, with that end goal in sight, a lot of it would come to me, which quite frankly, the opposite happened. And I realized that I could be doing so much more of a service for my people, and realizing that I could help and serve at a higher level. And when I realized that, I pivoted the business to more of a coaching consultancy company where we help businesses now improve their offerings, improve their sales processes, and essentially, well, make more money, but also make more of an impact and serve at a higher level. And nowadays, it's just a lot more fulfilling to realize that what we're doing is actually making a significant difference, not only in people's businesses, but also in their lives. And that's one of the things that I pride myself on every day. And it's one of the things I get up for in the morning, is to really make a difference and serve at that higher level.
Awesome, awesome, and I appreciate the way you described the fundamentals of proper entrepreneurship today. We all need to be in a place where we realize what's not working and we pivot, like you mentioned, pivot to that place that matters. And COVID or no COVID, craziness or no craziness, needing to realize where we are and where we need to be, if we're not where where we do need to be, is to actually have the strength, the courage to step into that place where we can pivot. And I kudos to you, Joe, for doing that.
Thank you.
It's something we all need to do. It's all something we all need to learn to do, because not many of us actually realize that's the key to success. You got to be able to get to that place, the next level. And you mentioned the next level, and being in a place where you're serving people, not just making money, but actually helping people change their lives, change their businesses, being in that place of making a huge difference. And brother, I was just curious, what would be one of the biggest lessons that you've learned when you were going through that transition? Can you share that with us?
Yeah, absolutely. That's probably one of my more favorite questions, because the easy answer is adaptability. One of the things I kind of realized was, in order to succeed and stay happy and kind of stay on top of your things, you need to be adaptable, whether it's to the environment, to the situation that you're in, to an obstacle that comes up. In order to solve the problem, staying adaptable and being flexible with everything that you do will allow you to be more proactive about the actions that you go about on a daily basis. So one of the things I always recommend to people is try not to stick to one thing where it's like you have to marry one ideal or marry one process or outcome or whatever it may be, but keep yourself adaptable, kind of like water, where you can take any shape and kind of can respond to things accordingly, if that makes sense.
It does. Yeah. Bruce Lee liked to say, be like water, be willing to flex your shape, be willing to, be the container rather than be contained. And that's, it's an amazing ability, because a lot of people today that are trying to run a business or start a business or build a business or scale a business don't understand that you have to be willing to be flexible. You can't be married to that one concept, because what we think is the people need is not necessarily what the people need. We need to be in a place where we can react to the market. We can't find the market. We have to react to the market. And it's a lot of people don't get that. And the whole idea for us in that is to actually choose to listen to our customers. But the thing is, a lot of people have to learn to listen to start that process. And many people don't understand what it takes to listen. And I'd like you to share with us, Joe, what was maybe your best lesson when it comes to that, when it comes to understanding how to pivot and what you need to do to pivot. Can you share that with us, brother?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. One of the things I realized is when you are trying to actually make a difference and serve people, it isn't always necessarily what you think is going to be the solution. And I've gone through this with my business a couple of times where we were focused on one individual side of things, whether it's finance, whether it's mindset, and understanding, to speak to your point, keeping an ear to the market is realizing, like, if you're trying to serve people, you have to be able to solve their problems and not just necessarily create problems so your service can provide the solution. More so for you to listen to the market, put your message out there, and then kind of see what the response is. I was actually having a call today about this earlier before we hopped on. One of the biggest things that one of my clients are struggling with is really just taking the feedback from the market. They want to do one thing, but it's like there's not that much feedback coming back from it. So we have to kind of pivot a little bit. And that doesn't necessarily mean pivoting your entire offer or pivoting the entire business, but necessarily just little bits and pieces here and there about messaging and how you want to kind of position yourself and carve out your little niche of the market. So I think one of the most important things, and you touched on it, is just listening. And working with coaches and being coaches, just like you and I are, that's one of the biggest parts of our job, is just understanding what people are giving to us. And I think one of the things that people tend to miss the mark on is handling and responding to feedback. I think that would probably be the biggest lesson, is just reflect and listen on what's coming back to you rather than just what you're putting out there.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
100%, because brother, there's a weird thing that people do when it comes to listening. They don't really listen to what you're saying. As soon as you start talking, they're trying to formulate their next question or their response. And they're not actually absorbing what you're saying. They're not empathizing with the message that you're giving. They're not being personal. They're not being genuine and actually listening to what you have to say. And that is exactly what happens in many, many cases. And us as coaches, we've learned this lesson. We understand that if we can't empathize with our client, if we can't put ourselves in their place rather than trying to put replace them with us and actually, try to define their problem with our ideas, we actually have to drop our own persona, drop our own story, and allow us to be more like them, allow us to feel what it is they're going through, allow us to understand what their challenge is, what their problem is, and actually work from there rather than try to redefine it for them, and actually just try to bring them to that next level of their understanding, not our understanding of what it is. So that's a powerful thing. And that kind of brings me to there's a lot of myths. There's a lot of misunderstanding when it comes to business, but even more so with coaching. And I'd like to have you speak to maybe a myth or a misunderstanding or a misinterpretation in the marketplace that you'd like to speak to, that you'd like to debunk.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that we kind of position ourselves against is the very common sales technique where I believe you and I had touched on it, where it's kind of like you have to stab them with a knife, make them feel the pain, twist it, make sure they understand the pain, and then they're going to pay you. One of the things that I find, not to say annoying with that, is that doesn't really fit with everybody, especially for people buying. And then a lot of people get this like kind of buy or die mentality. When it comes to sales, sales is not sleazy. It's not what's the word? Used car salesman tactics where it's just making people feel uncomfortable so they can buy. One of the things that we position ourselves against is that, and by saying that sales is primarily about leadership, it's about honesty, it's about serving, and it's about actually taking someone, like you said, listening to understand and not just listening to respond, and taking their solution and being able to provide, I'm sorry, taking their problem, being able to provide a solution. And I think one of the things that people tend to miss the mark on is it's just with sales, it's like, all right, we have to make them feel pain and then they'll buy from us. Well, that's not the case. If you want more people to actually be more in your tribe and actually have more of a relationship with you, you want to be able to serve them and solve their problems. Yeah. One of the things that I actually have a couple of clients who are like, yo, you don't really run us through a script. It's just more like, what's going on today? What could we solve? I'm like, that. Yeah. That's kind of the point, is like, you don't have, the scenario where I need to, like, again, to use the stab with the knife analogy, I don't need to make you feel the pain. I need you to realize that there's a solution, because a lot of people don't really realize the solution. They're in the situation where they feel the pain. Like, yeah, it's there. That's why they're on the call with you. But realize that you have to really take them from point A to point B and solve their problem, and also build that trust and rapport with them. So the biggest myth is that sales is sleazy or that sales is an uncomfortable thing. Because if you actually care about servicing your people and serving them at a higher level, then sales is for you. And the sales become a lot easier when you realize that you're just trying to help people.
That's right.
And it's an opportunity to lead. And it's not so much just an opportunity to make other people feel uncomfortable.
Well, and the irony that you said there is that knife, turning that knife and making them feel the pain. A lot of salesmen preach like what you just said, make them feel the pain so that they have more of a desire to take your solution. But your solution is not, yes, they want people buy with emotion, not with logic, but that's not the point. The point is you don't need to make someone hurt to help them. Actually, in all reality, that's not very cool. That's actually a sleazy move, because you're hurting the person. You're not helping them. And you don't need to hurt someone before you help them. And as a matter of fact, you mentioned the like trust factor. And how are people going to like and trust you if the first thing you do is hurt them? That doesn't even make sense, right? So a lot of people don't get that. Yes, we need to find out what their problem is, but we don't need to hurt them to do that. They're experiencing their problem. They're experiencing the pain. We don't need to make that worse before we help them. And to be a true entrepreneur, because every business is selling a product. There's no business out there that isn't selling a product. But the thing is, it's not about the sales. It's about providing the solution, like you mentioned. And it's so powerful when you make that subtle awareness shift and you realize that, wait a second here. I just want to help you. That's all I want to do, right? So what would be the one thing, the one major thing that you're trying to accomplish in your career? What's the thing that you think is going to make the biggest difference?
The way I service my people. I really try to have more open line of communication with everybody. I think one of the things that a lot of people miss the mark on, whether if they're pushing people to group programs or even just trying to do one-on-ones, but not really having that same level of congruency with people, is the position we're trying to look at ourselves through is more coming in and serving at the highest of level. And whether that's us helping you or us putting you in someone else's pool of customers, but we want to make sure that we're bringing service at a high level. We're not trying to we're not trying to sell just anybody. We're actually trying to, if you're getting on the phone with us, we're trying to come up with a solution, whether it's us or not. So I guess to answer your question is really just the customer journey is what I feel like would probably set us apart, because we want to make sure that whoever's coming into our world is leaving a better person.
There you go. Awesome. And I just want to acknowledge our listeners today, Kevin and Connie. Appreciate you guys making comments. I didn't want to interrupt the flow of the conversation to address your comments, but I really appreciate you guys stepping in there. And of course, Connie, she was cheating. She's watching while she's at work, so she's got to get back to the grind. And appreciate Kevin. He's from the UK and he's tuning in with us today. And
Very nice.
we're talking about the essence, the fundamentals of customer service and making a difference in the world. And Joe is an amazing example of the right way to do this. His model, his business model is spot on for the way the world is changing today. It's not about competition. It's about collaboration. It's about, you mentioned, Joe, and I'm so honored to have you say this, how if you can't help the person, you'll find someone that can. And that is so powerful in today's business model, because so many people are thinking, well, if I can't help you, sorry, see you later, have a nice day. And that's the end of the conversation. And my friends, that is so wrong. And I want to reach out to anybody that's running their business like that. It's time to change your mind on that. It's time to pivot and come to reality and be in a place where it's about the service, not the sale. And please, my friends, we need to change the world of business. We need to change the way the world focuses on business people and understand that the answer is out there. The solution is out there. You just need to find the person that's going to provide that solution. And for me and Joe, we have decided that we are going to work together. Joe does something that is exactly the way I do it, and that is what I just said, finding someone else to help if you can't, Joe. And that's what we both do. And look, Kevin agrees, right? And I love Kevin because he does this exact same thing. He'll help people for free. He doesn't care about the money. He cares about the transformation. And I love you for that, Kevin, because you are right, spot on. There's three of us in the same tune right now. And I'm sure there's more because many people with you and gone through what I've shared with you and what you've shared with me, because we're both on the same level and we both really resonate. But I'm curious, brother, who would have been your biggest influence? And you can talk about one person that's not in your family, or I've had lots of people say it was their grandfather, but who would be the one or two most influential people in your life?
Um, it's a rather long list, to be honest with you. But one of the people who I think completely embodies my business's virtues is my mother, which is always it's always like a weird answer, but my mom's a teacher. My mom's a teacher, and her whole life has been giving. It's been about gratitude. It's been about loving. And you'll never see her without a smile on her face. And every person she comes across is that much better from meeting her. So one of the things I worked on, I like to intertwine my family to a lot of things. And like our company's legal name is Graceful Growth, which is actually my niece's middle name, and she's my goddaughter. So like it's all intertwined. And I really when I was looking at the virtues and the values of my business that I want to kind of bring to life, that was one that stuck out when I looked at everything and kind of how I wanted to serve people and focus more on giving and loving and serving. My mom was like the end all answer to it all, where I was just like, oh, she's kind of been right the last like 25 years, like
your whole life.
maybe I should have been listening.
That's awesome, brother. I appreciate that. And it's amazing because we all love our moms. I wasn't fortunate to have a great relationship with my mom. I won't go into that story now. That's for another time. Joe and I were talking about that earlier. We all love our moms no matter what our relationship has been. And moms are special. Moms, there's nobody like our mom. And it's amazing to have that opportunity to realize that the wisdom of our moms as we go through life. And to grasp that sooner than later is a powerful thing as well.
Oh, yeah.
So, my brother, what would be one of the best books or resources that you've ever read? What's had the biggest impact on you as far as learning goes?
I have a couple. Actually, I have a couple right here.
That's my brother.
Return to Love is an awesome book as far as just coming to your own and feeling comfortable with yourself. I actually have a couple that are propping up my laptop right now, so I can't really swap those out. But another book I would recommend, two books I recommend to everybody is Psycho-Cybernetics and Miracle Morning. So I'm not a morning person. I actually am quite the opposite. I really enjoy working late at night. But Miracle Morning has helped me get a morning routine that helps me stay focused throughout my days, get off my ass in the bed, excuse my language, and get to the computer and actually be able to want to help and serve people. Psycho-Cybernetics has been immensely helpful in just getting my mindset right, just aligning with myself with what I should be actually doing. Return to Love has been just an eye-opening experience for me, especially not someone who's so religious. The book does touch on a little bit of God and religion, but it's not so much like pitching God and religion. So it was nice to really have that balance. Those are my big three that I typically recommend to people. But as far as like business strategies, Russell Brunson's books are amazing. Taylor Welch and Chris Evans's books are amazing and are immensely helpful in just staying on top of things. So I have a long list of actually I have a book list that I share with my clients. So by all means, I could always drop it for your people as well, that they could kind of see the organization of it.
Awesome. It's amazing that you mentioned a book list for your people, because I was updating my book list for my people earlier today. And I actually, what I do is I provide, I'm in Canada, by the way, and what I do is I provide links to Amazon to purchase the book, both in Canada and internationally through the States, as well as Audible. I have put an Audible CA
Nice.
Canada link, an Audible American international link, as well as there's a bookstore in Canada called Indigo Chapters, and I also put the link in my list. And I actually let the list be a kind of an interactive thing where the people can download the list and keep track of where they are with the list. And
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
I can share the concept with you, brother, and you can.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Some collaboration going on right there. We're helping each other improve our business, right? And this is what it's all about. This is what I'm talking about, Joe. And this is why I love you so much, even though I've only just met you. We're brothers from another mother, and we're here to make it better for everybody that does what they do. And the irony is that Kevin Long from the UK, he's an author, and he actually helps people publish books. So
very nice.
So this is a really, really cool law of attraction gathering here right now. And I'm I'm getting tingles thinking about it. Just the way the universe brings people together, and the way, so we had some sexy moments and some challenges at the beginning. Who cares? We're human. We make mistakes. It doesn't matter, right? It's the end result of helping each other in the long run, and that's what really, really matters, brother. And so,
yes, sir.
And you've got an amazing entrepreneur business model, and I'm curious, if someone wanted to do something similar to you, what would be the biggest couple of pieces of advice that you would give them?
First one is actually care. A lot of people would tend to get into business or even just entrepreneurship and not care. A lot of it tends to become about a lot about the money, which was my first fault. So the first step would be to care. Second step would really be to find how you can bring value to the marketplace, whether it's in the form of coaching, consulting, a certain product that you may have, or an idea or concept of something that can serve someone, and then find that someone. Obviously find the target market, have the product, and then sell it. But the objective really should be for you to give, love, and serve, and bring value to people. I think what most people miss the mark on is they're like, all right, what can I make money on first? And then I'll care about the other things after. But in quite the opposite fashion, right? It's who do you bring value to? How are you going to bring value to them? What are you going to deliver on? And then people will pay you for it because they actually appreciate it. So those would probably be my big three.
Awesome. And I left that comment up there, Kevin. He says it's no accident that the three of us are on here together and we're talking about books and all that sort of thing, because that's the law of attraction. That's the way a law of attraction works. And a lot of people that I communicate with don't even understand that whether they choose to or not, they live with the law of attraction. They manifest every day, whether it's by choice or by default. We all do. And when we add some awareness in there and some empathy and some intent, some purpose, some joy, some love, then we really, really start to make a difference, because it's the clients that we connect with and how we affect their lives that makes the huge difference. And do you have a story that sticks out in your mind of your greatest experience with a particular client? We don't want to hear the client's name because they'd probably be embarrassed to know, but they'll know who it is if they're listening. But by all means, do you have something like that to share with us?
Off the top of my head, not quite with this industry. One I do have that always resonates strong in my mind is actually when I was training. I did a lot of like prehab, rehab, physiotherapy type work. I'm a licensed massage therapist as well. So that's kind of my realm of expertise. One of the people I actually worked with had Asperger's and was a little bit socially just kind of shelled off from people and couldn't really go through normal motions, was their body was kind of limited and just like didn't really move properly. So over the course of like a year or so, we were able to break him out of his shell. He really came to his own, and was able to deadlift, squat, maneuver ways in the gym that he normally couldn't. Awesome. So the biggest part about that, one of the shifts in my service, so to speak, was realizing that no matter where people are, you can bring them to where you need to be by caring and giving and loving. Because I didn't really know what to do with him off the bat when I first met him, but I put my what's the word, foot in the ground or nose in the books, and tried to figure out a way to bring service to him because no one else wanted to train with him. So that was that's probably the biggest transformation that I'm most proud of. You know, I've walked people through losing 50 pounds, 20 pounds, all of the other things. And those are all great and they bring immense value to people's lives. But one of the ones that stand out would be him, because it was just like it was a level of service that really needed to take me up a notch. And it took my training from like a level 1 to like a level 5. And I realized like actually caring and being able to adapt to situations will actually be immensely more beneficial for all parties involved, rather than just, hey, here's a training routine type thing. So that's probably the biggest story that sticks out when you say that, to be honest.
There's an amazing lesson that you mentioned there, Joe, because what you talked about right there is adaptability, as you mentioned, empathy, as you mentioned, but not only the client's growth, but your growth. Yes. In the process. And that is the powerful part that makes us all better, because you can't just say, okay, here's my script, take it, see you later, and expect that person to grow with passion. They're going to say, oh, another book or another program. And they're not going to take that and delve into it. They're not going to take it and live it. And that's the difference between what other people do and what you and I and Kevin do, because Kevin does the same thing. It's an amazing thing that Kevin's on here today. I'm just loving it because he does exactly the same thing that you and I do. And I'm so stoked that there's a triangle of resonance here, because Kevin, Joe, Dean, the three of us are changing the world with what we do. Because I remember a story about Kevin. Kevin loves to tell stories, which is normal for an author. And he tells almost all his stories are about how he helped someone just because he wanted to help them. It wasn't about the money. It was about helping the person get to that place they couldn't get to on their own. And they didn't know how to get to on their own. Mm-hmm. And this is a powerful thing for us as coaches, as entrepreneurs, as people that are helping other people. And it's amazing that we're at that place where we can do that and have passion for it.
Yeah.
And make a living off of it. Because this is what it's all about, brother, is not only just to make a living, but to help other people have a better living as we go forward and as we do the things that we do. And it's amazing, Joe. I'm really, really honored to hear your story, to hear your insights, to get a feel for who it is that you are and what it is that you do and the passion that you put forward in those things, because it's amazing to see that we're not alone in our travels, in our journey, right?
Yes.
Because before we connected, and before I connected with Kevin, and before I connected with you, we were probably thinking, man, it would be nice to bump into some people that have the same mindset as us, that feel the same way we do, the same passion, right? Yep. And as soon as I get up, there's John thanking us both. He's a friend of mine. I help him with his affiliate business. And awesome. And this is my sweet girl, Connie. She's saying how inspirational you are. She's still watching.
Thank you, Connie.
At work. And this is how we change lives, my brother. And this is the way we make a difference in people's lives, is to be in that place where we are aware that, oh, look at this. Here we go. watching for the boss lady. Yeah. And Kevin, he's saying, my mentor used to say, help enough people get what they want, and you'll get what you want. Always be a
Yes.
right?
Yes. I love that.
Yeah. And that's a powerful thing. Thank you for that, Kevin. I really appreciate your contribution to the show today. And I really appreciate the simple fact that you chose to be here with me today, Joe. I'm honored. I'm stoked. I'm really, really appreciating it. Oh, we have another Megan. It's good to see you. Megan is another lady that's in a group that I share with all the time. She's actually a healthcare worker here in Canada, and she's amazing.
God bless.
Yeah, and there's Connie saying, yes, Kevin. And we all do those amazing things. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to talk, because we're having an interview with Joe Mann today. But just going to put on some banners here, Joe. And what is this about you, and how can people use this to contact you?
Yeah, by all means. I think right now you're showing the email address. So by all means, if you want to reach out, have questions, or even just want to have a chat, more than willing to talk. I think we could also share, I think, my Facebook profile, so that'll go as well. Feel free to add me. Feel free to check us out.
There's Joe's website.
Website also has an About Me section. So if you want to read a little bit more into my story, as well as our podcast section, that also should be getting a nice redesign in the next week or so. So hopefully there. And that's also actually our podcast link. So you'll be able to find it. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and then the other, I'm blanking on the other one.
That's okay.
But there are a few different assets where you could reach me at. You could also just send me a Facebook message. I'm more than willing to talk. I'm always down for jam sessions, and I'm always willing to kind of bring clarity and information to where I can. So awesome. By all means, please.
And this is all those pieces are going to be in the show notes, everybody. And we've got a comment here from John, right? Surrounding ourselves around others who have the success is powerful. Thanks again, brothers. And we appreciate you being here today, John. And likewise. Joe, it's been awesome to have you with me today. And it's awesome to know that I'm hosting a show with a podcast host. That's amazing. and I wouldn't actually mind being on your podcast one of these days, Joe. So
absolutely.
That's awesome. And this is the way the world works now, my friend. It's the new paradigm of business collaboration and helping each other with our businesses. So There you go, my friends. There you go, out there in the audience world, right across to the UK, Canada, down into the States where you are, Joe. And it's been an amazing thing. Oh, look at that. Kevin just added you.
Awesome.
So I think you're going to hear from Kevin, Joe, and that's amazing.
Sounds good.
You're going to like Kevin. He's a great guy. He's great at telling stories, and I'm just so honored to have been having this experience with you today, Joe, and looking forward to our continued relationship. My brother from another mother. Awesome. All right, everybody. Thank you for being here today, and
thank you for having me.
Awesome. Thank you, Joe. Much love, my brother.